Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I just got back from the theaters after seeing 28 years later. We skipped months. We're at years. Lola Vice is a better version of Nikita Lyons. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's a hot take. This is a 2025 film that was directed by Danny Boyle, the director of the original movie. And it was written by Alex Garland, who was the writer of the original movie. So it's kind of wild, all of these years later, to have these two specifically doing this. And I did see some reviews beforehand about this film. Not spoilers, thank God, but it did kind of stick in my head as I was watching this movie, which, did it color my opinion? Did it give me a certain level of expectation about this film? Because this movie was very much anticipated for myself. I don't remember exactly where I had it on the list, but this was huge for me. I love that original 28 Days Later film, and the idea of doing another one with the actual original director and writers was like big. It was huge. And Cillian Murphy's producing. I'm like, holy fuck, we're back. And watching the film, the plot and the characters that they decided to follow for this particular story is not something that I probably would have done myself, or it's not something I expected. Now, if you ask me what movie did you expect, or what kind of sequel did you expect, what kind of story did you expect them to tell, I don't know. I really don't know. And I can't say that if I wrote a sequel to 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, what would I have done? It wouldn't have been as good as this. So let me just get that right off the bat, where I enjoyed this movie a lot. Now, again, it's not something I expected, and it's not a direction that I probably would have gone myself, but I still found it very fascinating. I found it very interesting where they decided to take this. There was a lot of questions that were answered in this movie. At the same time, being an incomplete story, because it's already been announced that they are setting up a trilogy. They already have sequels being made. I think the next one is coming out in January. They are not waiting. And so I am more than curious to see where this story goes, where this ends up going. I don't want to get too spoiler-ish. I will say that Aaron Taylor Johnson plays his character Jamie, and you can probably get one of two performances from Aaron Taylor Johnson. Either he's a little too subdued and a little boring, or he's very energetic and tremendous, right? And I think this is more of the latter, even though he wasn't super energetic. Obviously, this is a post-apocalyptic type story, and so there is a lot of downbeat, depressing things for good reason. But his character did have a lot more going on. His character was a little interesting, maybe not the greatest person, but I understood at least where he was coming from in certain scenarios. His son, young kid, 14 years old, Alfie Williams plays Spike. And a lot of this movie centers around him. A lot of this movie is surrounding him, just wanting to help his mom, who's sick. And I like this kid. He was a really good actor for being that young and being in an environment, in a story that is this bleak and dark. I thought he did a great job. Jodie Comer plays his mother, and I love Jodie Comer as an actress. I do. Every time I see her, I'm like, fuck yeah, she's great. And she's really good in this movie as well. In fact, I didn't even recognize that this was Jodie Comer until more than halfway through, where I said, oh shit, that's her. Now, there's a part of me that thinks, man, she just plays a character that's sick the entire time, so it would have been nice to see her get to do a little more, or be a little more involved in another way, but her character is very important and integral. especially to the Spike character, that I definitely thought she did a good job with what she was given. Ralph Fiennes is one of the most interesting characters in this movie. I don't want to give too much away. It's this question on like, is he crazy or is he not? And like, I thought all of that was great. The Infected. Let's talk about The Infected, because I think The Infected from 28 Days Later, or this franchise in general, I've always found to be the scariest version of Infected, because they're not dead zombies that just come back to life or whatever. Like, they are real living, breathing people who are infected with this virus that just turns you into an animal of sorts. And I think seeing the Infected go through almost an evolution of being around for years and sort of developing their own pack or their own set of rules. There's an alpha. There's like it's something, once again, I was not expecting. It's almost like you expect, well, just more of the same. Just give me more of the same, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm okay with that. And maybe I would have liked that as well, but I appreciated that they did try to build upon this, and they did try to present something that, I guess, if something like this were to happen, this type of scenario, this probably is like a more interesting take or a more interesting way to go, given that it has been so many years later. I can definitely see, though, from reviews I've seen of people not maybe vibing with the direction that this movie went, either with The Infected or maybe the story that we're focusing on. Like, I can understand why not everybody's gonna love this, but me personally, I dug it and I was into what they were doing. I don't want to give anything crazy away, but Cillian Murphy's not in this movie. He's a producer, and he's going to be in the sequels, but I don't want people... I'm only giving that away because I don't want people going into this and expecting him to be a big part of this one movie, or expecting like, hey, where's Cillian Murphy? What the fuck? Like, if they thought that, or if they read that he was going to be here, he's not here. We're going to have to wait on that. So I hope people watch this movie and kind of enjoy it for what it is. I thought it was directed very well. Cinematography, just certain shots and colors and landscapes that are sticking with me even right now as I'm talking about it. It doesn't have that same grainy, cheaper feel that the original had. That is actually very charming. What I love about that original, you could tell this has a bigger budget. But once again, I think this was a very interesting film, maybe not as scary as you would have wanted, and I think there are some tension scenes and there are some scenes that did make me go, oh shit. But this movie felt like it was more of just like living in this world, living in a world that has been doing this for so long. And maybe some people think, oh, I've seen that movie before, or The Last of Us is doing that. Yeah, sure, but not quite like this. This is still something different. It still feels like something different. Overall, I would still give this movie a full price. It's kind of wild. I haven't had too many movies that didn't deliver on my expectations, but I still really enjoyed it, if that makes sense. Let me know in the comments below if you too saw 28 Years Later. What do you think of it? Do you like it? Do you love it? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!